All right, the best team in the NHL back at it tonight. You want to check it out? Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Coverage of tonight's Avs-Flames game starts at 6, powered by Ramos Law. They're going to drop the puck. It's another prime. I think it's prime. It's like big time for Canada. It's prime for Canada. So they're going at 6:45 tonight.
Hockey night in Canada.
Yeah. Wednesday's like that too. I don't know if you guys have looked ahead. Do you know the Avs play Dallas
Saturday
and the Nuggets play the Spurs at the exact same time? 1 o'clock, both games.
Yeah, that sucks when that happens, but it is kind of fun to flip back and forth.
I guess it's just I hate that, man. It
is
blows.
that the Knicks one with the Spurs, or is that the
Saturday?
Yeah,
1 o'clock game?
1 o'clock game.
Oh, I don't do it.
You're not doing it. It's a national. It's a natty. It's a natty, and so is the Avs game. So I don't know if that's a non-altitude game as well. But
you're the king of dual
anyways.
devices. You should love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be at the Nuggets game, and I'll have the Avs on the old computer one way or the other. It's just annoying. That's all. It's all. Just annoying. It's just funner, more fun to have them, like one after another or spread out a little bit. That's all. But it's literally there's not a lot of times where it's at the exact same time. But yeah, that's the deal on Saturday. But yeah, the Avs are in a weird place. We'll get to the owners' meeting, what's going on with the Broncos in a second. But really quick on the Avs. They only have one line that's set, and it's their fourth line. Wedgwood's going tonight. It is fascinating you could be so good as they are and so unsettled with who's playing where. They have 106 points. They're 6 points in front of Dallas, but they have 2 games in hand. So making up the 2 games, they could easily be 10 games in front of them. So nobody's really all that worried about where they're going. They're going to win their division. They're going to get the President's Trophy, and they'll host. We'll see. It's kind of a cluster for that number 8th seed. So we don't really know what that deal is. But it's not a settled team. They don't know who's going where on what lines. Does that concern you guys?
Well, in one aspect, I'm not saying my entire team was like this, but my positional group was in 2015 when we won a Super Bowl. I mean, can you think of a more unsettled offensive line in the history of Denver Broncos than what we were doing in 2015? I'm rotating in with the 2 tackles. We got a 3-man rotation going on between Michael Schofield, Ryan Harris, and myself, right? We're rotating like every couple series that's going on. Max Garcia is in a 3-man rotation with our 2 guards. Evan Mathis is got an injury all year long. He can't play more than a certain amount of snaps per games. You never see things like that. I don't know. It just felt normal for us, though. I bet for this Avalanche team, it feels normal to have the lineups just in and out and changing.
Well, especially because it kind of rolls. I mean, to me, it seems like whatever they're doing, they've kind of like plug this guy in, starter A, starter B, or 2A line, 2B, 3A, 3B, because whatever they're doing seems to mix, to be able to have a team deep enough that you could mix and still pull off pretty good success.
They've actually had kind of a weird, bad home record over the last 10 games. It's not been great at home recently. But I do wonder if this is your big theory that after a long road trip, one of the more difficult games is that first game back. And I think the length of the road trip matters in that equation. I think if you're just gone for 3 days, it's not that big of a deal. But they were gone for 8 days on that 4-game road trip.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sort of write it off. I do not want to see them play Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg's a bad matchup for them. I think they have the best goalie. They're really struggling just to make that 8th spot. It's going to be lucky for them to get there, and hopefully they don't. Other than that, I'm not even worried about Winnipeg. They just really give the Avs a tough time, man. They give them a tough time. So tonight it's Calgary.
Huh. You mean there's teams that aren't really that good that can give a really good team tough time?
There's a difference between that and one of the worst teams in the league.
Are they?
Is there something magical about Utah?
Yeah, I think they got a chance to be really good next year.
Okay, I'm talking about Wednesday.
Well, all the supplemental pieces that are playing this year will be playing next year.
Okay. Which of the following games, the last games for the Nuggets, should be easy?
How many
then?
games did Denver win when Joker wasn't out that you're like, oh my God, oh my God?
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Any game they won without Joker, I was like, oh my God.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the Nuggets here, man. I'm not worried about the Nuggets.
I am actually.
They're going to win the first round, and then it's going to be Oklahoma City, and we'll see.
What about the injuries, though? I mean, what about the injuries? How do we say we're not worried about the Nuggets when we've had a mash lineup going on the entire season with the injuries?
It's a fair point. I guess I'm sort of assuming they're going to be healthy by the time the playoffs start.
Well, yeah,
I'm
you make
more
that
concerned of the Nuggets than the Avs. I think when you just talked about the Avs and they're only set on the first and fourth line, and they got.
No, they're not even set on the first line. But
I am
fourth line.
less concerned about the Avs of any pro team I've ever fought. I was concerned about the Broncos all the way down the stretch and getting into the playoffs. I mean, the Buffalo game scared me. The New England game scared me. Avs, I have no. I don't know why. Maybe I'm stupid here. I have no fear. I think I do. Listen.
Well, I'm not overly concerned about it.
I think the Avs win it, and I say that with absolute confidence. I ain't gonna say that about the Nuggets,
right?
Can't say that about
nobody can say with confidence.
Can't say that about the Broncos next year. The Rockies, 97 more.
Oh my God,
97 more is all I'm saying.
Well,
they get 97 more before August.
Oh my God. You want to get into the Rockies real quick?
Well,
you want to give him a couple of minutes?
I mean, he was yelling at people that thought the Rockies were bad, and we should just trust
he was doing his typical deal, huh?
And we should just
trust
right
about how much smarter he is in baseball than the rest of us.
When Tyler comes back, I'm still sitting here.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm right here.
I thought you took a break.
Scott, if we just look at each other though, it's like he doesn't exist.
I'm over here. I'm right here.
Haven't gone anywhere.
Still here. Haven't moved. I mean, it was definitely, listen, it sucked because it's a 2-run homer with 2 outs where your left fielder, McCarthy, misplayed a ball, took a bad line, or you have 3 outs, and the guy who had been killed, Brett Kane. You see that guy? He's a doppelganger for Brett Kane, if Brett Kane was really good at baseball. But with the red hair and the pasty skin, and, he's like 6'4", he, killed the Rockies all series and hits a 2-run walk-off. I just could not. I mean, it was like, you can't believe it's actually happening. And Antonio Senzatella pitched great. He literally pitched great for 2 2/3 innings. I couldn't believe it. Well, I couldn't believe it.
Maybe that the for guys like Senzatella, who's shown in the past he's got some stuff.
He can throw 100 miles an hour, but he just kind of sucks.
But maybe now with the guy on the thing calling the pitches, that's the difference.
He was better. I mean, like, you just survived that, and then Vodnik is cool, and you got 2 outs. There's nobody on base, and he took a bad line. Okay, double. All right, here's a guy that's been killing us all series. So, let's give him a friggin' change-up right down the heart of the plate.
Why not put him on first?
You would put the winning run on first, and the double loses the game. You know what? I would have done it. I would have done it. It's not baseball protocol to put the winning run on first base. A double wins the game with 2 outs. But yeah, I would have done it, all things considered. He was their best hitter the whole season. Why are we talking about the Rockies, Scott? Seriously. Here's what surprised me. They hadn't started. Like, I don't even think that registered with what just happened. Why are we talking about the Rockies,
They
hadn't started 0-3 since 1994 starting on the road. They had not started 0-3 on the road since 1994. So as bad as they've been, they actually achieved. But all the games were by 1 run. Do you give them any grace because of that? And the pitching was actually pretty good. They couldn't hit in the clutch. 1 for 12 in runners in scoring position yesterday, 3 for 20 in the series. They couldn't hit in the clutch, but their pitching was pretty good.
So the pitching guy calling it has worked. But your new hitting coach really doesn't matter.
It's, you know what? I'm not, now they play the Blue Jays, who are awesome, and they'll probably get smoked.
And it's in Toronto, right?
It's in Toronto. It's yeah. I mean,
they'll probably win 2 or 3 there.
That would be unbelievable. That would be unbelievable. But anyways, that's them.
And I don't know if Tyler knows, you guys are going to be down in opening day on Friday.
I do know that.
It's supposed to snow and rain.
I saw at the Chop House. Where are you going to be?
You told me to stay here for a backup.
I didn't tell you to do that.
In case
I did not tell you to do that.
In case the whatchamacallit
Yeah,
breaks down.
I did not tell you to do that.
I think you told me to do
I
that.
did not tell you to do that. I'll see you down there at the Chop House.
Do you need backup for the backup? Like
Yeah.
what if your voice goes out?
Well, or if all of a sudden we really have to do a full show, it's always easier too. So,
That's true.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the Chop House Friday from noon to 3.
That's not a guarantee.
Is that right? Okay. All right. Well, certain people will be at the Chop House from noon to 3. Excited for opening day.
Yeah. Opening day has just turned into St. Patty's Day or
Opening day has been opening day since the mid-'90s, Scott.
Yeah.
It's its own thing.
I know. It's his own thing.
It's a celebration of downtown Denver. It always has been.
It's a party.
It's opening day.
Yeah. It's a Friday party in downtown.
Yes, where we're lucky to have a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah.
So we can have an opening day.
Yeah. We have a AAA affiliate who's in the
Well,
majors.
okay, fine. But, it's still a Major League Baseball team.
And opening days are fantastic.
Opening days are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, celebration of having a team.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
Yeah.
One of the best days to celebrate the spirit of
you know
Colorado.
what? I do love getting into the Rockies one day a year. It is fun. It's a blast.
All right, I'm shutting
I
up.
go downtown. I find a rock. No, I don't even find a Rockies hat, do I? I don't do that.
Used to.
Yeah, I used to. I used to have a sweet Charlie Blackmon shirt with his big old beard on it. I don't know what happened to that shirt. It's my favorite shirt of all time.
We'll look in the rags.
All
cleaning
they
rags.
needed was one stupid out, and it would have been
What
an
is
okay.
he talking about right now?
It'd have been an
I'm
okay.
just trying to
They
talk
got-
about cool T-shirts.
They got swept in Miami. He can't get over the sweeping.
A 2-run walk-off homer with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth.
Other than you, do you
I
think
just-
there's any
I
other
just
pundit
couldn't
in the
believe
United
it.
States that surprised the Rockies started 0-3?
Well, I'm not surprised they start 0-3. I'm not even there.
Friday, I would have said.
The question is, who's hoping for what? Are you hoping for more Rockies misery? Or are you hoping for them to be better? What are you hoping for?
97.
97 more?
Yeah.
You want to hit 100?
I want a record. Would it be 5 or 4?
4.
Which is a record, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. Every year's a record. They had never lost 100 games in a season until a couple years ago.
And you went down to celebrate that.
I went down to see if anybody cared, and nobody cared. Went there with my wife, had time on my hands as I was gizhed. So I was like, let's go and see them and see if anybody gives a crap. And nobody knew. I asked a variety of people, what do you
and
think
they
about
actually won the game you went to, didn't they?
No, they lost. No, it was weird. It was like a doubleheader rain out. There was something weird. Like they had a chance and they won, and because that, the next day was like a day game, something like that. So I said to the wife, let's do it. Let's go. And we went down there and nobody gave a crap. But it was a beautiful day. They lost. They lost the game. They hit it. And nobody cared. I was like, what do you think? They're like, about what? I go, nah, don't worry about it. Enjoy your chocolate dip strawberries. And your 9 rows of nobody sitting near you whatsoever.
With your feet hanging over the chair in front of you. Enjoy that.
It.
It's sort of pure luxury if you think about it.
Well, it is good to go during like August and September.
There's plenty of room.
Plenty of room.
Plenty of room. Just like the Marlins on day 2. It's the second day of the season for them. There's like 5,000 people there.
Isn't that funny?
Oh, my God.
Remember
it's
they
so
put a
bad.
franchise down there. He goes, well, man, there's so many great baseball fans because look at what all the spring trainings in Florida, and they're always packed and everybody's there. But that doesn't mean you just put a new team. There's nobody that knows them.
We'll get to the Broncos and what George Paton had to say in a second. I got to say I was wrong about something. I was really wrong about something.
You were wrong?
I was wrong.
Wow.
And I want to take just a second to sort of apologize, but to admit I was wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this the first, Dan? Do you got any?
This might be the first.
Do you have a grandioso music or like
trumpets?
like
A Bannerman? Like a Games of Thrones where they would, like
trombones in the big parade. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
I got to salute the summit, man.
Oh, that was cool.
Oh,
That was amazing.
awesome.
That was really cool.
The game sucked,
No,
but
it was Neil.
it was Neil. Did you say Neil?
Neil.
Neil. And it was a boring game to watch on TV because I ended up getting sucked into it and watching quite a bit of it on TV. But
I wish I was there, man.
it's
In hindsight, I really, really wish I would have prioritized that, made that an experience, take my
Were you
daughters
home
to
yet?
it.
I agree.
I got home set. That was Saturday, right?
It was.
Yeah.
I wish I was there too. I blew it. I didn't understand. I didn't get it culturally and sports-wise what it really meant to the Denver community because I was just too focused in on the game itself. And I needed to get over that and just realize this is something bigger and more important than just the game.
Right.
The game is the game. Whatever. You'll play a million of them.
Dennis Rodman's daughter was in town.
Mm-hmm. She looked like she was yelling at her teammates. She was not happy, but whatever. What they were able to do and how this city is, this sports state is, we're ridiculous. We are ridiculous. And it's cemented to me we should have a women's hockey team, and certainly we should have a WNBA team here. Both would be
We probably
incredibly
ought to have
supported.
a WNBA team for sure. I've got to look up the WNHL, how well that does, because I honestly haven't paid attention.
You know what? After what we saw and how they were supported, I have no doubts that Denver, Colorado would support professional women's hockey and, of course, the WNBA. Probably better than any other city. And I'm so proud of our state and everything. And I just was such a jerk to not get this in the first place.
And you know what?
It was an awesome thing.
And for the Women's Pro League, that national game in Denver and the way the Denverites showed up, I mean, that had to. If I'm a network
it was an all-time
person,
record.
yeah. If I'm a network person going, oh my God, this is unbelievable.
I can't believe they did what they did.
Yeah.
I thought when they booked it at Empower Field, I was like, oh, this is going to be like a state high school, football championship game.
Right.
Like 5,000-6,000 people, something like that.
Which looks like there's no one there.
Well, right. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons they moved it. I don't know. I don't know why they moved the state championships away from Empower Field.
Yeah,
but
I think that's a little bit.
But
of it.
63,000 for wow. I mean, wow. And I understand that's not going to be, the average. It's going to go way down, of course. And they're playing in temporary facilities near Dove Valley on those soccer fields. Kitty corner to Dove Valley.
That's where they're going to play home.
Yeah,
game?
I couldn't believe it either. But Sanford told me
My
they're putting
daughter's played there.
So does my son. I mean, all of our kids have played over there. Everybody's played there.
So are they going to put temporary stands?
14,000 seats over there, according to Sanford. I don't know how they're doing it, but it's going to open up here in a little bit. Yeah, so you can take
cool.
Ellie over there, right? And she's over in Norway now practicing. Might as well see the real deal.
Yeah.
But I thought it was awesome. And you guys are girl dads. I'm not. So maybe you should, what do you think about it?
We talked a little bit last week. I've gotten so much in, dude. I'm watching Premier League games and Champion League games on my television at home. I mean, I'm all in. I told you I finished the entire third season of Ted Lasso because I hadn't watched the third season. I follow Wrexham. I got it on my phone. I can show you. I've got all these things. Wrexham's women's team this weekend had a huge win and something.
So will you go to a sporting event just to go for fun?
I have tickets for the U.S. national team versus Japan friendly at Dick's.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Coming up in a couple weeks. So, yeah, I'm in.
I'm glad that girls
I've got a Summit T-shirt coming that I ordered a week or so ago for my daughter. So, yeah. And I think I got her a scarf. Which I didn't get it when I first started watching. Scarves are the big thing now in soccer.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Will you take your daughters to a game?
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely. It's up to them, right? I don't. They're not soccer players, so I don't know if they'll have the interest in it or not. But it would be a great experience that I would love to do.
Dude, as many club teams. I don't know the exact number, but I'll bet you with boys and girls, I'll bet you there's 25,000 kids in Denver playing soccer.
Well, there were 63,000 fans on a Saturday down there. And then, of course, a few hours later, there's 19,000 fans for an Avalanche game. And it's just like the sports mentality around here is unbelievable.
We had that this year. We had what's Invesco for football? 70?
75.
75,
yeah.
and then there's 19 for a Nuggets game
It's
that
unbelievable.
evening. I mean, that's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. All right. Anyways, let's get to George Paton and what he had to say as the Broncos are down at the owners' meetings coming up next. Hey, it's DMac for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. If you're dealing with just sluggery, like you just don't feel like yourself, it's sluggish, the workouts stink, the love life ain't what it used to be, you're just not sleeping that great, it could be low T. And when you're battling low T, nobody can help you more than my great friends at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. Hit them up at 720-440-7900. That's 720-440-7900. RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. They're helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more. It's designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. So with the low T treatments combined with the body composition programs, most guys notice some real improvements pretty quickly. Again, call them today, 720-440-7900, or visit them online, RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. Zach Stevens, our pal from DNVR, will join us from the owners' meetings at 1:20, so in about 30 minutes. We'll get to George Paton here about a bunch of different things, actually. I wonder if there's a topic that football fans, Tyler, could care less about than a labor issue with the referees in the NFL.
I don't know. I find it fascinating. I really do. You don't think that the casual fan who is incredibly frustrated with referees right now is not following this with with interest, looking at these refs that are like, I need a $2.5 million marketing package.
Sell me a pen on it, brother. Sell me a pen why it's interesting.
Referees is one of the single biggest frustration in the entire viewing experience. We've been talking for years about full-time referees.
Yeah.
We've been talking for years about a relegation system.
Do you know the referees don't want to become full-time? The NFL want. Okay, all right.
I know. I'm tracking the story. I'm tracking exactly the story. The refs don't want to be full-time.
Right.
They don't want to have performance-based.
Right.
They want seniority-based. I mean, all these things are the things that we've been actively complaining about for a long time. When it comes to the playoffs, seniority shouldn't matter. When it comes to the offseason, referees should be punished. They should be sent back to school. They should be sent to college. They should be sent to spring ball, all those sorts of things. Refs are pushing back on all of that sort of stuff. So I find it actually really compelling.
All right. Well, there's a standoff, and that's going on right now. There is part of me that does wonder, because this has got to be more about money than anything. And when I heard that the referees don't want to be full-time, to me it was like, oh, you want more money, and you also want to keep your job as a lawyer or whatever the hell you do, whatever your thing is.
Well, we all want to be paid more to work less.
That is correct. So that's, to me, what it seemed like it was all about. And while I understand maybe there's some frustration there, didn't the NFL make like $10 billion last year? Like, all right, so these guys are on the grift a little bit. Who cares? Pay them.
Well, it does seem relatively nominal in the big picture. So the NFL offered like a 6.5% yearly increase in their salary.
Yeah.
Which is pretty dang good in the real world. Every single year it goes up by 6.5%. You don't have to wait to the end of your contract. Just every year you're getting 6.5%. But the refs are asking for 10%. Okay, cool. Let's meet in the middle at 8.5% and call it a day.
Give them 10%. Who cares? I mean, I'm not joking. Like, all this other stuff about the seniority and this and all that stuff.
No, see, I would actually disagree with that. NFL should hold their mud on this one until they get everything else in place that is worthy of a pay increase. Like, if you want a pay increase, well, you're full-time. If you want a pay increase, well, there's a relegation system. If you want a pay increase, well, it's now performance-based rather than seniority-based.
It should be performance-based and relegation-based anyway.
It absolutely
and you
should.
ought to have associations with different college leagues and whatever. And they forever said that all college football was a minor league for pro football forever and ever. Well, why shouldn't it be the same thing with refs? You know, why shouldn't you get an association with them guys, help supplement them even, and say, dude, here we go, let's go.
I got it. They're on the grift. I get it. I understand it. As far as the NFL, pay them. Like, how much, Dan, did they make last year?
$23 billion.
$23 billion. The NFL made $23 billion last year?
Their revenue.
Wow.
There's a different, their revenue.
Whatever it is. These guys.
They probably had 11 or 12 billion.
You know what? They're about to get a bunch of scabs out there and do all these temporary refs and review everything on video.
We did that, and those scabs were actually as good, if not better. We've been through that.
Well, I'm not into scabs and part-time and replacement players and that sort of thing. So I think the NFL is being cheap as hell on this one. And just buck up and pay the guys.
Oh, hold on.
It's been like this
how
forever.
about the refs that don't want to work? Like, why is the NFL the bad guy here when the refs don't want to work? When the refs don't want a performance-based system? When the refs don't want to be held accountable? Why is the NFL, why are they the bad guy?
Because they came from the teaching. Oh, sorry.
Excuse me?
They were teachers before
this. Wow. Scott dropping the hammer on teachers. That wasn't even me.
I did that for you, though.
I had nothing to do with that.
But I did that for you.
You didn't do anything for me. That was all Scott about teachers. I had nothing to do with that.
My whole family was teachers.
Well, okay. Beep, beep, beep. You backpedaling now that quickly?
No.
I mean, don't run anything over. What do you want to see happen with the referees in the NFL?
I want to see exactly what the NFL is asking them to do. If that would actually happen,
whose side are you on?
I'm on the NFL side. Absolutely. Why would I be on the ref side?
He's turned into a
why would I want? Hold on, Scott. Hold on, Scott.
Point.
You hate the refs more than anybody.
I know.
Why would I back the referees who don't want to work full time, who don't want to be held accountable? Why would I back that?
Here's my problem. This is like turd versus diarrhea.
So tell me about it. That's how I started this conversation.
This is like a turd versus diarrhea.
I agree.
And which one is nastier, right? The NBA the NFL makes so much money. You said $23 billion in revenue, and that's what we know of. Let's be honest. Pay the refs. That being said, I'm with you. I think refs suck. And what, are you afraid to be judged? You're afraid to be, and I understand who's judging you, but you should be judged, and there's guys should be regulated out. NBA at least has a G League, and they've done that. There's been people that have come up that they'll give tryouts, so let them have 2 or 3 week period, and then, okay, you're back to G League. And there was a guy that was a veteran guy who was up here 3 or 4 years, didn't grade well. Guess what? He's back at the G League again. And there's been other guys that have left the NBA. Now they're doing college basketball.
Correct.
So the problem is the NFL doesn't have that G League. I know they.
Yeah, but you know what they can do, Scott? Just buy. Like. Okay, you don't.
But if someone
there's
got out there,
there's nowhere to send you to, but buy.
But there was something that got you there in the first place. So there has to be and this is hard for me to say about official, some sort of redeeming quality that got you there in the first place.
Right.
So
you guys going to be cool when there's a bunch of scabs reffing games?
If that's what it takes to get referees full time, hell yes. If that's what it takes to get referees that are held accountable, hell yes.
If you're going to want full-time referees, then you've got to have relegation and but you got to have an association either with Canada, all the indoor football leagues that are still going on, the WXFL or
They're getting all these scabs from like college, 1, 2, and 3.
Well,
supposedly.
I would make, and you know what? You want something to help you out on that? Make college and pro football rules more similar.
Who's going to do that? Who's going to make that
decision? We talked about it with Leggy last week. What, is it time to say 1 foot in is a good catch, like the NFL? Is it?
College? So capitulate to the NCAA rules.
No,
go the other way.
Make the rules whatever. They can capitulate on kickoffs for us. They haven't changed their kickoff thing, have they, in college?
College, no. Mm-mm.
They're
all about CTE.
Why don't you make the rules more uniform through both? Then guess what you could do? Boom, bing, boom, bing, boom, bing. You make $5,000 a game, and you make it to the NFL, and you make it $2,500 at college.
This is a big deal down at the owners' meetings because things were leaking out where nobody was supposed to be talking about any of this crap.
Yeah, both sides yesterday, it was like they were singing like canaries.
Yeah, so that's the big meltdown at the owners' meetings. But
when you start negotiating, and this goes for the Players Association a whole bunch of years ago, NBA, baseball, NFL, when all of a sudden it starts getting negotiated into the media, you're lost.
It's a mess.
Baseball's going to have a strike.
A lockout.
Which is different.
It's a work stoppage, but yeah. All right, well, that's the owners'
Look at this. I got a whole new piece came out of the.
Yeah, you're doing some damage there.
I'm just.
You just can't help yourself.
I think the lesson here is stop yanking on it.
Can I say something?
If you stop yanking on it.
6'10", 5'4". The mic's, and look at that mic fits him perfect.
Okay.
It doesn't fit me perfect.
If you stop touching it and
like
yanking
the entire show, it's left, right, up, down.
But you know why? Because if I sit back, I've got to bring it to me, and then I got to twist this. If I sit up, I have to hold it so the arm doesn't fall off and sit like this.
No, we get it. We see you manipulating it and touching it and yanking it thousands of times a day.
Yeah, he does.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, he does.
Something, you do it that much, Scott, it's going to fall off. It's PhD on 92.5. All right, George Paton spoke. Zach Stevens did tell us that Greg Penner has not spoke yet, so we're pushing him back till about 2:30, so we'll get the latest from the owners' meetings in a little bit. But we can go over some of the things that George Paton thinks. First, we just start with overall free agency. This happened just about 2 hours ago. George Paton was talking. So what do you think about your team?
We like our players. I mean, that was the plan. We compare all our players to what's there in free agency, and our guys favored, where they were pretty high. And we won a lot of games with these guys. They fit the culture, and not everyone does. Hard work and good play. I mean, you're talking Singleton and Sternad and J.K. Dobbins, who really changed the landscape of our offense, and Trout and those type of guys. And then you kind of look, it's just an extension of what we've done over the last year and a half. We had 10 extensions, and these are some of the best players in the league. Sertan, Miners, Benito, Zach Allen, Roach, Court, Bull, all these guys. And so you can't do that and then make a big splash like some of these teams do. And so we feel really good with what we accomplished in free agency. We filled a lot of needs with good players that we know, and yet we had flexibility to go make a trade. And so if we just jumped out and made a big splash to trade, we wouldn't have been able to make the trade.
What we've learned about George Paton, who said, we'll get some idea when we get to it. He's ready for a new contract, but he's not pushing for it. The guy is patient. He doesn't really jump at the big flashy toy. This is who he is. He's patient George. And conservative George. And that's how they say it.
I've fallen into that camp a lot with George Paton, where I'm like, he's never going to do the aggressive move. Is that really true, though? I mean, he gave up the biggest trade in the history of the NFL to go get Russell Wilson.
Well, that was a big mistake. And learn from his mistake.
Okay, but we're not talking about whether it was a mistake or not. We're just talking about whether the guy is really as conservative as what we think.
I think he got pushed to that because things were falling apart because they did not get Aaron Rodgers when they got Nathaniel Hackett, his other big hire.
He made the biggest trade in the history of the NFL.
Okay, that blew up in his face.
Okay, the argument isn't whether it was a good deal or not. I'm just debating whether he's actually as conservative as we make him out to be. He was a part of, whether it's literally his decision or not, trading a first rounder to go get Sean Payton. Okay, pretty big. He gave up what a lot of people considered, I don't think it was, but a lot of people consider was too much to go get Jalen Waddle. He's actually had some really, really big swings since he's been the GM of the Broncos.
Well, this ain't one of them this offseason, that's for sure.
Wait, hold on. I mean, the Waddle deal's not a big swing?
I think it's a good deal. It's fine. But it's not like, you think it's some sort of groundbreaking deal?
I think it's aggressive.
He waited forever to get it done. They weren't in a big push. Miami eventually couldn't get a better offer. The thing took, they were talking about it at the trade deadline last October.
So he stuck by his guns, had an offer down there, didn't give in too much.
I said he's patient.
Ended up pulling a better receiver in than you had.
I really actually don't think he's as conservative. And I have thought that too, by the way. I just don't think anymore he's as conservative as we have thought for a long, long time, man. Dude, those are big, big moves. Whether you're saying he got backed into a corner or not, he did what he had to do when he was backed into a corner.
I think his personality, next year in free agency, here's how I'm going to approach it with George Paton. Wake me up in 5 days. Nothing. I will be advocating for no big deals happening at the beginning of free agency next year. Zero. None. Because it ain't going to happen. It's not who he is. Listen, I'm fine with it. They're in the AFC Championship. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl next year. I'm A-okay with it. You want to give George Paton another contract? It's fine by me. It's working. It's all working. So it's cool. But this is how he's explaining what they did and why they did it. Dude, they signed 17 free agents that were their own guys.
Yeah.
Pretty conservative.
It's also weird. I also think that the term culture is one of the most overutilized words in sports. You know what is better than culture sometimes? Talent. Sometimes talent is just better than culture.
And when you can match the two, then you got something.
Of course.
They like their guys.
I don't want problem kids. You know, that's not what I'm saying.
And you don't need all choir boys either.
Exactly.
Here he is about the Waddle deal.
We had an interest at the trade deadline. I think everyone knows that. It didn't get very far then, but we still like the player a lot. Got through our offseason process with our roster and then free agent meetings, and And really, it was just kind of still out there. At the Combine, we hadn't talked yet. And then when we got back to the Combine, reached out to John Eric, and then it kind of started from there. And obviously did a lot of work on him. All the coaches did, scouts. We'd done a lot of work at the trade deadline. We felt like we knew the player well. We knew the person even better. And so feel really good about the trade.
George, what does he bring to this team?
Well, he's one of the more explosive playmakers in the league, first and foremost. Great makeup, great competitor. He'll fit in well with our room. We really like our room. I've said that on a number of, Cortland and Pat Bryant and Troy and Mimsy. So we have a great room, and he just upgrades, or he just helps the room and opens up the run game. He'll open it up for the other receivers. So we think he'll fit in well with the group.
Well, you certainly aren't going to trade a guy you call Mimsy. Once you get a cute nickname for somebody, he's sticking on your team. Good old Mimsy.
Well, what's Leggy? Leggy thinks your 3 best wide receivers are Mims, Waddle, and Sutton.
Well, okay.
And they led the league
Okay.
in 3 receiver sets last year.
They're clearly not going to trade anybody in that room.
No.
Clear as day.
And I'm actually down with that, man. I really am. I think that room's actually complete. You've got complementary players at every single position. You've got your big guys in Cortland Sutton and Pat Bryant. You got your shifty guys in Mims and Waddle. Franklin's a bit of a tweener. He can do everything. I mean, you need Franklin to take the next step, but that's a very healthy, good-looking wide receiver room. I would not be antsy to move on from any of those dudes.
Also, yeah, I don't think they are. So that conversation kind of is like, okay, we got you. We'll see how it goes. Running back, though, he left the door open. He did say, although he really likes J.K. Dobbins. So all they're all in on J.K. They like him. They like his age. They like the money they got him for. They like him. However, on this particular group, he did leave the door open, not only in the draft, but somewhere after the draft, like where they got Dobbins in the first place, which was after the draft, and see who else is shaking out. So I do believe they'll add a running back. It could be through the draft. It could be through free agency after the draft. But I think if you looked at that number 62, and they could go anywhere because they'll probably go best player available, but I think their first look will be, can we add a quality running back at 62? And he referenced other guys they've got in the 60s, like Mims and like Benito and RJ Harvey, who are all down in that level. Do you think they can get a quality running back in the 60s this draft?
I don't think it makes sense. In the 60s, to me, it doesn't make sense. What happened is you signed Dobbins. It was my exact fear. It made you feel like the running back room is complete, even though he's saying that it's not. At 60, the type of player you're going to get is somebody to compete with RJ Harvey. Is that what you need?
Well, he's the one that, here's what you need. You need an insurance policy for Dobbins, and everybody knows it.
Right.
That's what you need.
Right.
So you tell me who that is.
Washington Jr.
Well, that would be great by me because he's a bigger dude with speed and explosion, and I think he would be a perfect guy. Mike Washington out of Arkansas. That would be great as far as I'm concerned. But this is not to replace RJ Harvey. They really love RJ Harvey. It's just to add. This really is like, like we like Jaleel, we don't love him. We like Bidet, we don't love him. Let's get somebody else, because how long are they going to have Dobbins on the team for anyway?
Well, was it a 2-year deal they signed or just one?
2-year deal, but it's really one.
All right, here's what he said about it.
No, you're right. It's a tough balance, but he's 27 years old. He's completely healthy now. That injury was it was a hip drop. It was a freak. His body didn't break down. He could have played in the Super Bowl. This guy, from the minute he walked in our building, changed it. And so it's like, we just didn't want to let him leave. He meant too much to the building. He was a top 4 rusher in the league when he got hurt. Let's sign him back. He meant too much to this team.
Did you guys heard that? He said he's going to play in the Super Bowl if we get there.
Yeah, that's what he said. Dobbins
You buy it?
That's a lot of pressure to say, kid, if you're not. I think maybe you would have.
I mean,
there was rumblings he was going to play against Buffalo.
Had he played, what does that mean?
Nothing.
7 or 8 carries?
We were going to get squashed by the Seahawks anyways. It wouldn't have mattered. Didn't matter.
I disagree.
Oh man, it would not have
because
been.
I think Bo Nix would have played. Well, he wasn't playing. Well,
Oh, big Bo Nix guy over there, huh?
Really?
I
So
think- I
if
think
Bo
he's
is healthy, we win the Super
Big
I
Bo
think
Nix
we play better than.
Wow.
Than,
Bowl. Do we win the Super Bowl with Bo Nix?
yes.
Whoa.
Damn. So you believe Bo Nix is a Super Bowl level quality quarterback?
I think he's better than Drake May, and if you have Dobbins with him, if Dobbins would have played, I think that would have been a bigger threat than what the New England threw.
Well,
at
then
him.
he's clearly worth $70 million a year.
No.
No, he is by your definition.
No.
If you win a Super Bowl, you're getting 70.
Yeah.
If he'd have won the Super Bowl, yeah. But right now,
Well, you think you have to project? You have to.
I don't have to project nothing. You project
the Broncos,
everything.
The Broncos do.
What do you want me to be
You can't
5'2"?
You can't be pro-projecting and anti-projecting at the same time.
No, I can go different paths. I think if Dobbins
you
and
can
Bo
completely
Nix are
contradict
healthy,
yourself.
if Bo Nix and Dobbins are healthy, they get to the Super Bowl, and I think they throw a better game at Seattle
You
than
said
New
you
England
thought
did.
they would win.
Well, I think they had a chance.
Do you think they would win or not?
And if they won, then you probably got to pay him $70 million.
You were a backpedaling son of a gun
No,
all of a sudden.
Man,
Okay,
wow.
Which one is it, buddy?
Hey, what's up, beep beep?
If Bo Nix is healthy and Dobbins is healthy, they beat New England and they play Seattle better and have a legit chance to win that.
Yeah,
that
Tyler
game.
and I are saying they lose to Seattle.
Yeah, no, but you guys, because you guys don't like them.
So wait, hold on, fine. So you're a believer?
No.
Okay. All right,
I'm a hobo. All I'm saying, I thought New England was crap. Did you guys not remember the Super Bowl? New England was crap in that game.
Yeah, no, we
but
were
I don't
there.
know. I don't know
We
what
get
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we believe you.
And I think if Bo Nix and Dobbins are both healthy, yeah.
We
don't think
gotcha. They go to the Super Bowl.
Do you guys think it's a better game than what we saw?
Probably, yeah. And
They still don't win it.
Do you
They
think it's
still
a
lose.
one-score game going down the last 3 minutes?
No.
Not necessarily, no.
Oh, wow, you guys are.
No, we don't
You know
think
what?
they're quite ready.
I'm going to get that Bo Lever hat and I'm throwing it away. Or hiding
Why
it.
don't you just wear it?
Because I'm a hobo.
All right. Zach Stevens from the owners meeting will join us, as it turns out, coming up next.
Hey, if you're out there struggling with hair loss, bald spot, receding hairline, or thinning hair, maybe you're looking for a simple one-day solution to reverse that balding process, call my friends at Advanced Hair Restoration. Ask about their Advanced FUE. Nobody can offer anything like the Advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair Restoration. They've already changed tens of thousands of lives, and that includes mine, and you deserve to be the next one. Guys, when you go to Advanced Hair, you're going to be in a calm and relaxed environment with the best of the best. Dr. Tanya Pauls is legendary. The entire staff at Advanced Hair Restoration, fantastic at what they do, and they believe in what they do. They're going to guarantee your hair is going to grow for life. Lifetime guarantee with your own natural hair starting to regrow the very next day. So don't waste time. Pick up the phone. Call 720-459-HAIR. You're going to get 250 free hair grafts and $250 off, but that is a limited time offer. Or check out those before and after photos at advancedhair.com.
Zach Stevens from DNVR is with us now. Boy, you must have just got done with Greg Penner. Did he really literally just get done like a second ago? Zach? Uh-oh.
DMac, what's going on?
My man.
I didn't hear you there. Yeah,
That's
just
okay.
got done with Greg, hot off the press, and DMac, I've got some good news to report. The concrete company where the new stadium is being built was asked about, so got an update on that for you.
Let's go. Give me the SRM concrete update. What is it?
Well, they're still, when specifically asked about that, he said we're still working with private places to buy their land. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to this stadium, this was the first time talking to Greg, Damani, people within the organization, where it actually felt like there was true urgency about this stadium in order to hit the goal of opening the stadium by 2031. This was the first time where I felt like there was actually pressure on them needing to speed things up or keep it on pace right now and not fall any further behind. And I thought that was kind of fascinating right now. That goal of 2031 is still there. Greg was asked, well, do you have any contingencies on if you do fall behind and where the stadium is? And he said, well, we don't really have them, but it would just be to continue to play at the stadium we're at now. So I kind of feel a sense of urgency with this stadium for the first time.
Wait, so you're saying the update was that there was no update?
No, exactly. A sense of urgency update. But yeah, they're, continuing everything. When it comes to the preferred site, which I know is something DMac also really likes, he said, we hope to be a couple of months away from removing the preferred off of that. But once they remove the preferred off of it, it's the stadium. Everything has to be set and ready to go. And there's still a couple of those private businesses that they need to buy to get all of that land for themselves.
Wow. Isn't that interesting, man? We just got a couple little sticky widgets there that just can't. I knew that SRM thing was going to be a little bit of an issue, Zach. Scott Tyler.
Yeah, you called it right away. And I mean, that is clearly something where they have all the negotiating power, those specific companies, and because they have 150 acres that they want to build and buy the stadium on. And from my understanding, they've got most of them. When you have most of them, the negotiating power goes to those other small ones that haven't sold yet.
Yeah, because there's no motivation for SRM Concrete to sell. Like, money is not a big deal to these guys. So, I swear to God. They make multi-million-dollar purchases all over the place. Like, this is not a small company. Their location is what matters to them the most. Why? Because they're a quick-drying concrete company.
Yeah.
So they've bought, like, warehouses and plants, like, scattered within 90 minutes of each other all over the place.
Highways and railroads.
They've got to be close to them. They have to be. And so, well, we'll see where it goes. What else was brought up with Mr. Penner?
Well, he talked about Sean Payton giving up play calling duty, and I asked him about that, and I found it very interesting that he went out of his way to say, I did not ask Sean to do that. This was entirely his decision, and then went on to talk about how important it was to keep Davis Webb in the building because of everything he means and now what he's going to mean to this offense as well. But I thought that was fascinating that he went out of his way to say that he had nothing to do with that. That was all Sean Payton right there. When it comes to the other facilities, the training facility is on track and on budget. I know we were all worried if they were going to go over budget on that and have to spend out of their own pocket, but they're going to move in June. So that means that they'll be completely moved in. All the people, business people at the stadium will be down at that new facility. And then he made a point of emphasis to say how nice it's going to be for the players, because everything regarding the players is going to be on the same level. They did a research study a couple of years ago about how many steps the players were getting in the building, and it was way too much. So everything's going to be closer. That's going to open, and they'll be in their building for training camp come the end of July. So when it comes to the stadium, there's a big sense of urgency. When it comes to the new facility, it's not as urgent. They feel very comfortable that that's going to be done in time.
When's the teardown start? Because they're going to tear down that whole other facility, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't think that's going to be done by the time training camp starts. So I think it's going to be another temporary solution for fans at training camp this year. And then by next year, they actually have all of the dirt from the old hill. They're going to move that and build a new hill for the fans.
No permanent like bleachers or anything?
That's a good question. I'm not sure about that yet, but not for this year. They'll have probably the temporary ones like we saw last year.
George Payton. No, is there anything else from Greg?
Nope, that pretty much covers it.
All right. George Payton, what were your takeaways from him today.
Yeah, a couple of big things. First off, the Broncos are not going to be trading a wide receiver after making that move from Jalen Waddle. And I'll tell you what, George Paton's a pretty straight shooter when he talks to the media. If there's something he doesn't want to say, he just won't say it. And he came out and just shot the idea of a trade down. He said, why would we go out and build this receiver room up to what we have it at to now trade it away and trade some of those pieces away? So they are very set on not trading one of these receivers. And probably good news for the Broncos this year, and it makes sense being in the Super Bowl window. You don't want to give away pieces. It's probably bad news for Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin, and Marvin Mims, because their role, specifically Troy Franklin's role, is going to have to be pretty diminished from what it was last year. But just more weapons for Davis Webb and the offense there. With the reaction inside the building to the Jalen Waddle trade, Sean Payton said Bo Nix was very excited when he saw him, went out to dinner with him, and George made a joke. He said Bo kind of feels like he's a quasi-GM at times, and he said that this move's going to be good, and George thinks he's right on that. Pat Surtain screamed when George Paton called and told him the news, so just tons of excitement there. And then another fascinating thing, J.K. Dobbins, the decision to bring him back. George said multiple times how when J.K. walked in the building last year, he instantly changed the organization and the team on and off the field. And he said he meant too much to this team to let him leave in free agency. And we all saw it. I mean, I don't know if anyone was expecting J.K. to get the contract that he got, but that's just how much he means. And then he was asked, well, how do you balance the injuries that he has with everything he brings to the team? And he said, that's a tough balance there. And then he pointed immediately to R.J. Harvey, guys. R.J. Harvey is their backup running back. He's going to be the guy they turn to this year if someone gets hurt. I do believe they're going to draft one, but I don't think it's going to be with day two pick or the day two pick. I think it's going to be with a fifth or sixth or seventh round pick right there. So that shows how much confidence they have in R.J. Harvey there.
Any conversations about the tight end situation? That seems to be the one spot that I just don't hear them ever acknowledging.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Troutman's name was brought up. I don't think that really fits what you're saying there, though, Tyler. No conversations about that tight end position, and that is certainly one that I could imagine them going with that 62nd pick. And George said, we do have a lot of experience with these picks, or with picking at 60, because, of course, Broncos a couple years ago, their first pick in the draft, Marvin Mims, another one of their first picks, Nick Bonito. You hope that you get to that point where George is picking up the phone and saying, we just got Nick effing Bonito, like he did a couple of years ago, because they're going to have to nail that pick right now. The day three picks, not going to matter much this year, but you're really going to want to hit on that. And George did say they could trade up. And, man, I think if they're trading up, tight end could be very high on that list of packaging a few picks to move up to 40 or 50 to get a tight end.
Well, should be kind of interesting. So other than not move up, then really the draft is like, okay, can we build depth?
Right. Yep, exactly. And specifically, those final two picks, the Broncos have Mr. Irrelevant, and as George Paton said, the Mr. Irrelevant backup, because they've got the two final picks in the draft here. And that's George, funny. He made a big deal about these. He said these are picks that you can't just forget about, because these are the guys that are going to be priority free agents after the draft that you get to snag and not have them go to another team. And one of the guys he pointed to, he said Jonathan Cooper was a prime example of that. So, if they could get Nick Bonito in this draft, they can get Jonathan Cooper in this draft. And then, of course, your first and your third round pick or Jalen Waddle. They feel very good about that. George said that Jalen Waddle, one of the most explosive playmakers in the NFL. And that's kind of what the Broncos need, whether it was from the receiver position, tight end, running back. They had to add that. And he thinks they absolutely did here. And he said, look, I like picks more than anyone. And this guy was worth giving up all these picks for.
Well, great job, Zach. Any other?
When do we hear from Sean?
We hear from Sean tomorrow at 8:45 your time, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say.
All right, man. Any other quirky things? Any other tidbits? Anything else we should know from down there at the owners' meetings?
Yeah, quickly. He talked about the quiet free agency, and I know everyone was losing their minds about it, and understandably so. He said he loved the way free agency went, was very pleased with it. He said the Broncos could not keep Justin Strnad, Alex Singleton, and Dre Greenlaw. Right. Clearly we know which one was the odd man out there. It was Dre Greenlaw. And that their free agency this year was pretty much just an extension of what they've done over the past 24 months of just re-signing all of their own guys like they have. They've given out, in the past 24 months, they've given out $600 million worth of contracts. So they just kept that going in free agency by re-signing their own guys instead of handing it to new guys.
Was it more than just Drake Greenlaw's injury and the missing the game, the suspension, or was there an attitude thing going on that they weren't real cool about in the locker room?
I don't think it was an attitude thing, but Scott, I do think he didn't fit with the Broncos locker room and culture. And it wasn't because he was a bad guy or anything, because you hear, today, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan just saying the praises of Dre Greenlaw's
drooling
character.
about him.
Yeah, exactly. They were going crazy over him. And so he's not a bad guy. He just didn't fit with the Broncos from the moment he got there. And I think what really hurt him, too, was him being hurt and not being around the guys initially, and then getting suspended your first game back. It just never clicked. Yeah. And a guy that does click is Alex Singleton in terms of the character and the culture. That is Sean Payton's guy. That is Vance Joseph's guy. So I wasn't surprised at all that they eventually went this way.
I'm not going to lie. When I read what Kyle said how much we love Dre as a person, by the way, which was interesting what he started with when we've been hearing these kind of vague reports that there was something going on in the locker room. Says how much we love Dre as a person, how much we love him as a player. He's one of the best linebackers I've ever coached, been around some good ones, what he's been to the 49ers organization. And he just goes on and on. When I heard that, boys, I immediately thought, if Dre Greenlaw goes to the 49ers and gets healthy and is what he was supposed to be for us, I'm going to shed a tear because what could have been.
Yeah, that's very fair. But then at the same time, like when you say if he's able to stay healthy, well, you've been saying that for a couple of years right now, and that's kind of what the Broncos got. And that's why they did a great job giving Dre this contract that they did last year. They dangled $31 million contract in front of him when in reality it was a 1-year, $11 million deal, and they were able to get out of it.
Great job, Zach. We'll look for more at DNVR, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you, Zach.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
There you go. Zach Stevens from DNVR Broncos. What's Bruce Brown's legacy as a Pacer or a Raptor? Like, some guys are just meant to be on certain teams. It just is what it is.
It's funny you said that because I was thinking that watching it last night. There's still things I think he needs to get better at, but I'm like,
boy, he
comes up with big plays at the right times. I'm like, why did the Pacers, after signing him, let him go so quickly in Toronto? And
he talked about it last night and said, I'm getting healthier. I feel much better. So he was being bothered by some things, and maybe that was going over the past couple of years.
He had that knee surgery, right? So,
and sometimes I think for whatever reasons, dudes are just better on some teams than others. Period. The end. So if Greenlaw is great with the Niners, that doesn't necessarily mean he ever would have been great with the Broncos for whatever reason. Some guys are just meant to be at certain places.
It's funny. I was talking to Cam Johnson a couple of games ago in the locker room about fitting in and what he's learned. He goes, man, I'm still picking Christian and Bruce's brain about all these back. They get all these cuts all the time. I said, I'm trying to figure out how I can get in on. So it is. There is a culture of certain teams.
Yeah.
Which I was going to ask Tyler, what's the difference you think from a Sean Payton locker room culture and a Kyle Shanahan locker room culture?
Fear versus love would be like the first thing that comes to my mind. Kyle's not all love. He's not Pete Carroll. He's not Dan Quinn. But he does embrace that to some degree, and he was influenced by those two guys, by the way. Yeah. So that's probably what I would say. It's more of a fear culture, which is more of an old school football way to go about your business.
Bo Nix was at the Nuggets yesterday. Did you see that?
I didn't.
He was there. He was in a luxury box with.
I couldn't believe it, but wouldn't you know it? Frank Crum was there again.
I was just gonna say, can you guess who was with him? He doesn't go anywhere without Crum. You know who he's really tight with is that Gargiulo guy, which we don't know that much about, who was like a 7th-round draft pick, the guy out of Yale, that dude. He's always with him, too. And there are a couple of other fellas, too. But he doesn't go anywhere without Frank Crum. I think Frank Crum is the nanny for the new Bo Baby. I think he just must hang out in the basement up there at Castle Pines.
Well, it might be the Lannister locks.
It might be. But they were all there. They were having a good time, if you know what I'm saying. And the crowd, they put them on the Jumbotron, signing on of football. Everybody loves them. It's Bo's town now, baby. This is Bo Nix's town. Mike Sanford has an interesting conspiracy theory based off of this comment right here. Bo thinks he's a GM, according to George Paton.
Both, I think, thinks he's kind of a quasi GM sometimes. And, sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. I think he's right on this guy. This guy's pretty special.
He's talking about Waddle. Do you think, this is what Mike's bringing up, Bo thinks he's a quasi GM. Bo has this opinion. Bo has that opinion. We going to see a butting of the heads between Bo and Sean here relatively soon.
As if it hadn't happened?
As if it hasn't happened, right.
I would say that going back to your $70 million a year theory a while ago, that George Paton thinks that this guy is going to be around here a whole lot longer than this guy. So I might as well have this good relationship here and listen to what he says. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. But I'm going to listen because this guy is going to be here a whole, another 8-10 years. This guy got 2 more years.
Well, I'll say this, and you guys know I haven't been as deep down that conspiracy as you guys have been, but I will say this. With Davis Webb getting a promotion, all that's going to do is amplify Bo's voice.
Oh, yeah.
It's just going to make it bigger and louder because now he doesn't feel like he's speaking directly to Sean.
At what point, as an owner or GM, are you listening more to the quarterback than to the coach?
When you're a multi-Pro Bowler? Not yet. Hell no. Not now.
Okay.
When you've won a Super Bowl, you're a multi-Pro Bowler.
Not when you get a $70 million a year contract?
Nope. That doesn't mean as much as you think.
Okay.
Well, was he voted to Pro Bowl this year but was hurt?
I don't know. It's the Pro Bowl. Who knows? I don't know how that
Pro
goes.
Bowl.
It means that. I don't know if that means anything.
Not like he used to.
No.
All right, say All-Pro.
You're all pro.
All Pro's hard to get.
Yeah.
That's really that's way harder than a Pro Bowl.
Too. Is it time for them to go?
I think it's getting damn close where Bo's voice is a little bit louder
No
than
way.
Sean's.
Bo hasn't done anything in the big picture,
Damn
man.
close.
I
No
agree.
freaking way.
I agree with Tyler.
If,
but
and if they allow that, if the Broncos allow that, they are messing up because you do not give guys too big of a voice until they've earned it, and Bo has not earned that.
well, he has another year a little better next year. Then guess what? You all $70 million comes into play, and you ain't gonna listen to the $70 million guy.
They get a little bit louder, don't they?
It sure seems like it. And I'm telling you, now all of a sudden you got a quarterback making let's say 60,
Game of Thrones.
58 million. This guy got 1 year left at 18.
Mm.
Who you listen to?
Mm.
Who got a bigger voice?
I got you, bro. I got you.
That's what I think is happening.
Yeah.
They know they're about ready to pay a quarterback, and this guy's got 2 years left on a deal.
I think there's some interesting goings on at King's Landing. I think it's going to be interesting. Right now, everybody's kind of getting along.
Yeah.
But, who's got a bigger dragon?
Well, right now, Bo is Tyrion Lannister.
He's Tyrion?
And Sean
Tyrion?
And Sean is Tyrell or what the grandpa, the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
You sure Bo's not Jamie Lannister, my friend?
No, because
You sure he's not the Kingslayer?
Hear me out. Because in a year or so, Tyrion's going to put some crossbow arrows